What's up, guys? Day 9 of the NBA quarantine. Season's been out since the 12th. It's the 21st. With my man Igor. Say what's up.
What's good?
And Joe. Guys, we're not going to bore you with the at-home workouts. We don't want to do that on the show. We're going to stick with sports and the NBA. You want to talk about Spencer Dinwiddie's tournament that he's been talking about?
I think there's no one really knows when the league is going to come back. There's been talk about Skyping the NBA draft and so forth. But I think Dinwiddie's idea of the whole March Madness tournament, where again the top 4 seeds would get the buys and then there's playing games. I think it makes the most sense because unless you're willing to again extend the season legitimately, probably, and Lord knows to when, July, August, September, who the heck knows, but it would be a way of giving everyone an equal footing and an opportunity to get in there, which, I mean, do the Warriors, here's the crazy thing, if the Warriors get a play-in game and everyone comes back healthy, they might do some damage as like the last seed.
With the title?
I don't know about that. Who knows? But I mean, it would give them an opportunity. But I mean, I guess it makes the most sense. Or again, you just do what most people say, and you play 3 quarters of the season and just cut off everything. Because I don't think there should be. I mean, a team that, let's say, got worked hard to get into the 8th spot. I mean, you're giving them the same opportunity that a team that went like 15-40. I don't know if that really works out, but I don't know. It's one of those situations where they're gonna have to make a decision at some point. But I still legitimately believe it'll be a long time coming. But his idea makes sense. Being a Raptors guy for one, getting that first round bye would be nice and clutch.
Well, not necessarily his ideology, but just the blueprint of it.
His blueprint of what it would be in terms of
the buys and everything.
Because I would assume, unless I think most people in Toronto, if the Raptors remain champions for another year, they wouldn't complain.
I'm mad at you.
But it would be something different for sure. But who knows how they're gonna handle it, man? Everything's up in the air.
Okay, what I wanted to talk about was you're a teacher, and we've talked about that the schools are probably not coming back this year. That being super unlikely.
Yeah.
So what we were kind of thinking is, and to get back to this whole playoff format, let's say the league gets back in July. Okay, let's say that a lot of things have to go right. I don't think that the season's coming back, to be honest. I don't think that they start playing. I don't think any sport's coming back until the end of 2020, maybe 2021. Wow. And I said that a few months ago, and this was before everything. This is the tip of the iceberg, I feel like, with the COVID. This is the COVID episode too, right?
Jesus.
But you have to think that every player has to test negative for the virus. And you have to kind of quarantine them to ensure that when they play, that they're also still healthy, right? Because as we've seen with a lot of the guys that have gone on, Marcus Smart, Donovan Mitchell, they have no symptoms, but they have the virus.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody would need to be isolated after they've been tested.
They're
and I guess do it over a short period of time to kind of guarantee that they're still healthy. Because I don't think anyone's going to be locked up in a hotel or in a team facility for X amount of days. Second question then is, do they bring back the fans?
I don't think you can bring back the fans based on the fact that there's just too much risk of exposure. I think for them to bring back the fans, you would have to come to a point, just like the SARS epidemic like 10, 15 years ago. You have to basically come into a system where there's a very rare few cases or it's been massively contained. I think you need like a month's worth of, or near a month's worth of like 0 domestic cases to be comfortable with any of that. Like the one thing, we mentioned the schools, one thing where I'm not, and I know here in Ontario they've only done it for a couple of weeks, that's not going to really do anything because at the end of the day, if you're looking at how the cases are going, it's not going to be anywhere close to expunged at April 5th. So by throwing everyone back into schools or back to most things are reopening and again in 2 weeks, it's not going to do anything. And I understand that they're worried about the economy, they're worried about the education system, but you're also going to be worried about people's health. Is it right to be putting people at risk the way they are? Still particularly, not to get all political on this the podcast, are they doing what they're supposed to be doing right now by not locking down the streets? Like I'm personally here because we're not under lockdown, where I'm still able to travel, and I'm still seeing people.
It's a small group of people. We're 6 feet apart.
Well, exactly. It's a small group of people. You also have to think that again. So we mentioned it off air, the EV game situation where there's 1,000 people lining up to go grab Doom. And something called Animal Hunter or whatever the heck it was called.
Not GoldenEye.
It wasn't GoldenEye.
You were playing GoldenEye.
We were playing GoldenEye. That was the shit. But like that, people are still going to be like, I'm young, I'm not going to be able to do it. And that's the problem that people are having. People are having this issue where we're young, it'll be gone in 14 days, and then we're immune.
They're not taking it seriously.
Exactly. And the issue with that is is that yeah, maybe you're able to have the body, and then but others that you may catch it too, like the elderly, like those that
Your
might
parents.
yeah, but like them, all those that might have an immune system that isn't really going to be able to recover from that, you got to be thinking of them. I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that. So, like I personally think that you're gonna have to lock this down at some point soon. We're not as bad as the U.S. The U.S. is doing it already, but at some point, the way that it's going, people aren't really listening. You're gonna have to lock it down for a month. Just like Italy's just that's not today 700 people. That's a lot of people.
Deaths,
deaths.
Not cases, deaths.
No, that's just deaths, and the cases are going crazy. And I know you're Italian and so forth. It's absolutely insane how many people are infected with that in one country.
Spain, Dan was telling me Spain's getting decimated right now.
Yeah, like it's the Europe. It's moved from China onto the European thing, and it's coming to the U.S.
And there were some soccer games that we were talking about too. Like Valencia was playing Atlanta in UEFA Champions League, and they were saying that maybe some of the cases were from the fans, 80,000 people or 50,000 people, whatever was in the stadium.
They try to make it seem like you try to do life goes on, and I think that's what this government's continuously doing now, where they're putting in certain measures. But if you go to the grocery store, you go everywhere. Not everyone's like following the measures. And again, I'll be the first to tell you, I had to go get some bulbs because my bathroom lights were gone. And I didn't want to be in darkness for freaking 6 months while I'm taking a shower. So I went to go get some bulbs at Canadian Tire. That place was still rammed with people.
Oh, it was.
And like some people had the masks and whatever, but no, like the social distancing thing wasn't a huge deal. So I don't know what the heck they're gonna do, but like you can watch the Raptors, playoff run on TSN and Sportsnet. I was gonna snap yesterday that I'm taking bets that they lose game one, but then I was about to do that because I was gonna be putting some heavy money. But I'm like, I decided against it because it would have been funny. I probably would have got some funny responses. I'm like, I'm betting they're gonna blow this game, but I'm seeing rainbow at the end, sunshine at the end of the rainbow here, because that's what they're doing, and that's fair enough. But like, I personally am not one that likes to watch repeated games knowing the outcomes. Yeah. If I know who wins, it doesn't really interest me. Like, will I
watch the same movie twice?
Well, the movies are a little bit different because I guess the movies are a little more nostalgic for me. Yeah. But like, if they replay the Warriors series again, will I watch it if I'm absolutely bored?
Well, you're a Raptors fan, so you might. That's the only thing.
100%. Right? But I also, with sports, knowing that I don't know. I just with a movie it's different because maybe like after a while you don't like. You
forget the lines or something.
But like you kind of know who's gonna win, so it kind of ruins it for me. Yeah. But even before the quarantine, if I knew the result of a game, I'd watch the highlights. I wouldn't go back and watch the whole game because I just think that was a waste of my time. Yeah. So.
But now the thing is, as we're seeing on Instagram, people have time to waste and they're letting everybody know that they're bored. So I think that's why they're replaying these games because people need something to do.
You're bored when even I'm replaying like workout challenges and stuff for. So at the end of the day,
even one of those, the push-up challenge.
Well, I mean, I got the push-up. Actually, my arms are hurting me from yesterday.
Oh, you did a workout. Yeah.
I did a workout yesterday, but like even I'm getting bored where I gotta find things to do. So I mean, like.
And we're not even locked down yet.
Lord knows, yeah, we're not even locked down. Right? Lord knows, thankfully for Netflix and things along that nature, because like I don't know how I'd be able to live like. Sleeping and reading maybe, but I don't know. After a while, it'd be tough.
You're gonna become Buddha.
Like, yeah. Woosah. Bad boys. Woosah. But yeah, no, it's something different, man. Like as I mentioned to you, like before we started, we take a lot of things for granted, sports in general, and this is one of those situations where you're like, damn, I really should have maybe done more, because now like you just don't know how long it's been. Like just like living your best life. I mean, I'm always about that YOLO situation, but
you're always about that 25-year-old chick in Vegas.
Yeah, well,
YOLO idea.
Well, we know at the end of the day, because you don't like I had plans to go on like it's my first year like teaching, and now you get 2 months off and you're able to relax a little bit. Yeah. I had plans to travel like to places I had never been, and I put that off because I could have done that years ago and I didn't. Yeah. And now I might not be able. The whole summer might be gone, right? Like and then it goes back to being the freaking dreadful winter again. Yeah. So it's one of those situations where you're like, damn, there goes a wasted amount of time in your youth, and ain't getting any younger either, right?
That's a fact.
It is what it is.
Did you see Serge Ibaka's show that went from how hungry are you to how bored are you?
Yes, I did see the
thoughts.
Yeah, well,
for a few episodes.
I'll give him I actually watched the Kyle Lowry situation where he's calling Kyle every day, and he's like, oh, I talk to you more now than I ever did on the court. Which goes to show you how much.
Which begs the question: how tight were they on the court?
Yeah, they probably again. Serge is like, I know we know the deal on the court, right? We don't need to talk. You lob it up, I'm gonna shoot the ball. But I mean, at the end of the day, like people, especially against the Raptors are in quarantine, and your boy Boucher got in trouble for
Got the strap.
got the strap for the whole grocery store
He
situation.
didn't think he was going to be noticed in public as a 7-foot man.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, he probably should have gotten a little bit more incognito, but
Well, what is it? I don't understand.
Sunglasses, some
Professional
hats.
athlete, no, that's not going to help with your self. You're a pro athlete on Boucher's part, and it's like, why? I mean, unless it's like you want to get some fresh air, go for a walk. But even so, you're quarantined, so you can't go for a walk. Go on your balcony. Get someone to do the grocery shopping for you. We know that
This
this
is
team,
true.
even Ibaka said, like, I forget who it was. Maybe it was Hollis Jefferson. He was talking to on one of the episodes, and he goes, "Hey man, did the team send you your workout equipment yet?" Like the team's bringing people in to like make sure the Raptors have all their food, workout stuff.
Must be nice.
Not for Boucher though.
Well, I mean,
He needed to go to Sobeys downtown.
well, I mean, I guess maybe that's what I'm not to lay. Well, again, I'm not an NBA player. I can't really throw like stones, but I mean, he's also not making the money that the other guys are doing.
Of
He
course,
probably
but still,
doesn't
500
doesn't
G's,
get
a
the perk.
million.
Sure, I guess at the end of the day, he probably could have done that, but again, maybe he just wanted to come
Get
out
out,
and he was
yeah.
losing his mind. Who the heck knows?
Yeah.
But you know what? It's a new age reality that we're living in, and we're gonna have to get accustomed to it. Lord knows if they isolate us for 6 months, like people are gonna start like I'm already thinking I'm gonna turn into Tom
You're
Hanks.
gonna jump off the cliff? What
No,
are you telling
not
me?
even that. I'm gonna turn into Tom Hanks and Castaway. I'm
You're looking.
gonna look like I
I
got
had
a
to go
huge
get the
beard.
fresh haircut before I came on the set yet.
See, I don't
It was
even know.
last week.
I don't even know if the barber is even open.
They're shut down now.
I'm gonna look like Tom Hanks and Castaway in no time.
You see the memes talking about all the females with the hair growing out the roots and the nails this long. We're gonna see what everybody really looks like
Yeah,
now.
with the eyebrows not being able to be done, like Lord knows if you're in a situation at the barber, like this is gonna test your marriage and your relationship if you live
You've
with
been
a person.
saying that, yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. Like we can do a podcast just on that. All those
Divorce
problems.
rates spiked during the
Divorce
COVID.
rates, 100%. I think in China they did go up
I don't know if that's
substantially.
fake news or not, but yeah, I heard that.
Because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to put up with the person for long spans, and a lot of
For
people
your whole work day.
can't deal with that, right? That you're used to having your space, and you can only deal with people in doses. And if that is the case, maybe you should not have married them in the first place. But it is what it is, and people tend to be, you're not at work, you're restless, you're sad, you're not living your best life. So at the end of the day, obviously, no one wants to have depressed people around them at all times. So
For sure.
it is what it is, but we'll see what we'll deal. At least there's some good NFL news. At least
We're gonna get to NFL soon, but I just want to finish up a few things with the NBA. So if the season ends up playing, we've talked about this from episode 1 of this season to the end. Who's your squad? Who do you think would take the championship this year, based on what's happened?
I mean, luckily for me, the special correspondent isn't around.
He's refused until basketball.
I mean, if you got to look at it from pillar to post, I would say that the Bucks are probably still the favorites. What they've been doing in the East, they'll have an easier road, I would assume.
Yeah.
Depending on what you think of the East. I mean, out west there has been some the armor isn't as solid as I thought the Clippers were going to be, but that's also a situation where that can turn in the playoffs. So I'm not massively worried. I've been relatively surprised with how the Lakers have played, and I thought they would be a lot worse in terms of chemistry. But I mean, they're definitely something. I would say that those three teams probably have the best shot, and then you look at teams like the Raptors and Denver, things along that nature. But I would say that those top three are probably the ones that are still the main contenders. Boston's been playing a little bit better, but again, that also depends on where they seed. If they seed, where they are now, they would likely face the Bucks in the second round, which probably inhibit them a little bit. The Raptors would probably only face the Bucks in the conference finals. And I guess so. The Raptors would end up going would be 2 through 7. The Bucks would play through 4 through 5. So that the Raptors would probably play the Sixers.
7-8.
Probably the Raptors would probably play the Sixers.
Indiana at 5.
Yeah, so I guess the third seed would be Boston.
And who was 4 then?
So at the end of the day, I guess the Raptors would play one of Boston or Philly. And then I guess
which would be a good matchup.
Miami, I think Miami's in fourth or third. I can't really recall at this point, but.
See, that's the thing. The East is tight. After Milwaukee, and I guess the Raptors have shown what they can do in the regular season.
But in the playoffs,
it's really especially without Kawhi. Who knows what's going to happen?
I think Miami would give them some problems.
Miami, Boston, Toronto. I think those three teams there, and then I guess Philly, even though they've had injuries and whatever, who knows who would be healthy for the playoffs? But those three teams in the league of their own, and then I guess you would rank Philly and then Indiana.
You just gotta hope that with all his health issues and what happened in last year's playoffs, you don't want Embiid catching anything because Lord knows he was sick last year.
Piece of glass. And Simmons over the back injury,
Well,
right? Like
now,
Simmons
but
wasn't
now,
even
all
supposed to come
those
back.
guys were covered
And
nicely.
he wasn't even supposed to be evaluated until like mid-April, right? When
So
the regular season's
So
done.
for the ones that are like in those positions, like this kind of stuff, whenever they replay, it ends up benefiting some of those teams
Because they'll be healthy and rested, I guess,
healthy,
right?
Exactly. I think what was the situation? There was also who was it that was gonna? Oh, even in hockey, like Steven Stamkos was gonna be
He'll
out
be
for
back.
months.
Yeah.
They'll be back for the playoffs. That was the one. If the Leafs made the playoffs, that was my
One of the
one hope.
things.
Well,
Yeah.
they did beat Tampa back to back, which is something.
I was there for that one. Remember, I was there for the last Leaf game at the ACC.
The ACC for a while.
And they pulled it off.
That'll be another thing. Is you have to also think that these guys, who's in the best condition? Some of
The
these guys,
healthiest team in the playoffs.
some of these guys, well, even not even that. It's like some of these guys will be off for a month or two. How are they going to come back? Are they going to come back? Are they going to need a training camp? Like same with the hockey guys. All
Injuries
you just
possibly,
you just
right?
can't throw guys right
Yeah,
back in
yeah,
there
yeah.
because like these guys need to get back to their normal
Even though
routine.
they are pro athletes, yeah. Like
Well,
as you know, guys sitting in their
some of these guys,
condos,
3
right?
months without doing anything, and they come back like 20 pounds overweight, right? Like not all these guys are
Or even
fitness
5 or 10, yeah.
fitness gurus. I remember like the old school guys, like just watching some of the
Out
old
of shape and they'd come
the
down.
old shit, like these guys look like they were 30 pounds overweight when they couldn't make
Like
it.
Jokic, right? They played themselves into shape as the season went on.
Exactly.
Just
So
like
those
that.
guys
Yeah.
aren't fitness gurus as is.
Yeah.
Like they can like like hockey, the Kessel was another guy.
Slow starters.
There would always be like
The
Kessel,
hot dog king.
the hot dog king. He would come in out of shape, and then he'd have to like get back into shape. So that's gonna be an interesting thing. I think it opens it up a little bit depending on what they do.
That's the thing,
But
right?
it probably helps the younger guys and the older ones, like let's say
The
LeBron,
younger
for
teams,
example.
maybe, right?
Like LeBron and so forth, like that, he'll be off or whatever. But again, those guys that can afford it, I mean, hyperbaric chambers and whatever the hell they can do. And again, if you have wear and tear, definitely helps you too. So there's a
Give and take with
give and
both.
take with everything.
So you placing a bet on your team, who is it?
So
If they come
if
back,
I had to come back, seeing what I've seen so far, I would have to. I chose the Clippers to off the bat. I'm a little wary of what I've seen because the team can, like I've seen Kawhi yell at people. It's weird. I didn't see any of that.
You've
with
never
the
seen
Raptors.
that before.
You haven't seen that before, so I'm getting a little bit weary. I'm gonna stick with them.
Yeah.
But I would say that the Lakers and Bucks are really like ramping up, and not because again I'm a quote unquote LeBron guy on the panel. I mean he's been really good. I don't think anyone can say that he hasn't had a near MVP level season.
We do want to note that the NBA did say that they're stopped drug testing during this time.
Wow.
So your boy can amp up for
He's
the
never been caught with anything else.
He's never been caught. That's right. Don't get caught. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I don't know. Like I really. The thing is, Giannis obviously has to be healthy because what he's done for them. You know, he was out and they didn't win, and he lost to the Lakers. That was a road trip. But for the whole season, the body of work they've been
The
incredible.
problem that I see with the Giannis situation is that if they do what the Raptors did, and not everyone's gonna have a Kawhi level defender and so forth. If they start making guys rely, and he'll face some tough matchups like and who's gonna be guarding who, but like if they throw guys out the way they've been doing, is his outside shooting gonna be good enough to get them through?
He is for sure, but you have to say like I can't think of a team that has a better.
Are they better than last year? I don't know. You could argue that they're probably not. I mean
It's because they lost Brogdon, right?
They lost
but
Brogdon,
they got depth from everywhere else.
Wesley Matthews, they got some shooters. They picked up Lopez. They're better as a unit, but I still think in the come to playoffs they might be a little bit problematic unless Giannis develops that full game because again,
Well, if he did, then
Nick Nurse gave everybody the what to do, and he's got the blueprint, right? Exactly.
But you need Kawhi to do that too, right?
Well,
he's the only guy that can guard him.
You need Kawhi, and you need maybe top level defenders. Like I know, for example, I don't want to be that guy because it was an All-Star game. But you saw when the stakes got a little higher, and they started putting like top level defenders on.
Everybody, look at James Harden. He was airballing step backs too, right? Like that was everybody. But who are you gonna point out? I want to hear it.
I was gonna say I think Kawhi did a reasonably good job.
On offense and defense,
on defense on Giannis, and then when he got blocked by Giannis a couple of times too.
Yeah,
but when he was on him full court, like LeBron did a real good job on him. He didn't do anything in the fourth quarter, if you noticed.
Yeah,
he did very little.
Nobody did anything in the fourth quarter. It was an ugly game because of great defense, right?
Near the end of it, yeah, sure.
It was tight. Things
and
tight.
Kyle with his,
Kyle taking 3 charges. Only got credit for 2 though. He's a champion. This guy's a champ. He's gonna fall now. Okay, let's move on then from the NBA. I think we pretty much said. One last thing. Do you think that they're going to play this season in 2020 in the summer?
I mean, I think in 2020, I think if they did it like we're in March right now, so you're looking at April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. If they took 9 months to come back, that'd be.
But it's not the league. It's society, really, right?
that'd be an absolute disaster zone. I think they'll like considering the accounts and everything. I would say like earliest they'll probably come back is like maybe late August.
Okay, yeah,
September-ish.
maybe I was gonna say they've already said
That's
they're
conservative. In my
hoping
opinion.
they're hoping for July. That's not gonna happen.
I don't think so
That's
because considering that like
Cases are going up.
cases are going up, they're gonna want a good period of like a month, I think, where they need to see that things are really settled down. And the thing is, like, I mean, and I think one of our buddies saw that situation. Not everyone's gonna get tested, so you don't know who really is carrying the virus. Because if you're feeling all right, you're not gonna
As the
take the
public
time.
or as the public?
But even then, like if like you're feeling all right, like you're not getting tested, they're not testing everybody that has it, and you're still passing it off, even though you think you're good, so or you think you're fine. So how are you gonna really bring people back when things aren't really at a zero type of level? Because you might think, oh, everything's great, and then you bring back 20,000 people, and maybe a couple of those people have it, and they don't even know they have it, and then it spreads around like wildfire again. So I don't know. It's a good like I'm here in 18
It's
months.
scary.
Like even though like I think like 2021, I'm like I'm thinking, oh my god, no. But you can absolutely be right in that, and that's that fact because a lot of people do think it's gonna take a good while,
a year and a half, yeah.
a year and a half, and I mean like most people like a year and a half, like.
Could you imagine Christmas comes and you're looking like Tom Hanks and we're sitting by the Christmas
I'm
tree and we're
I'm
still.
gonna be looking. Tom Hanks. I'll be looking like one of those guys in Led Zeppelin, like those rabbis with the freaking. My beard's gonna be like. I'm gonna have to do it myself.
With the guitar strapped to you.
I'm gonna have a beard looking like Rick Ross, like, and my hair. The Lord
Push
knows,
it to the limit.
Push it to the limit. But yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful, but I wouldn't concede that you're absolutely right. But I'm hopeful by September they'll have something going on. But the vaccine won't be ready for a while either, because I mean,
The vaccine's kind of scary.
one of my well, yeah, I mean that's the whole I Am Legend thing, right? Like that's what happened. That's the whole premise
That
of the
too,
plot,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is that the vaccine turned them all into Lord knows into zombies and crap. Well, I'm not expecting that to happen, but
We're not expecting it, but it might
we
happen.
weren't expecting anything, to be honest. I wasn't expecting to be isolated for freaking weeks on end either. So who the heck knows?
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up just for the NBA portion of this. We want to make sure you guys are doing your home workout. So if you need anything, you can follow at Iggy to get the whole workout plan. Kanye West videos on lock. Getting ready for the summer. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk a little bit of NFL, see what happened with Tom Brady and stuff in just a second on the block.